Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Today we're going to talk about something pretty deep, and that's Virginia Giuffre, or however you say her name. Here's what we know so far. She had recently left her allegedly abusive husband or abusive relationship. I often wonder in cases like that, did the abuse go both ways? Because sometimes it does. So there was that. Then there was this strange accident. She was in a vehicle being driven by someone else, and it was hit by a school bus. This is in Australia. So people local to that area have posted saying, yeah, this wasn't a big accident. This was a fender bender kind of situation, allegedly. And let's just remember, this is all for entertainment purposes only. We're just playing with pretty cards and telling stories. So there was that accident. And then she posted on her social media a photo of her all bruised up, her face all bruised. And she was saying that she is in kidney failure, renal failure, and has 4 days to live. So day 4 comes along and everybody's like, okay, what's going to happen? And then she's posting about how she's being taken to a specialist treatment center. And it's like, well, if you're supposed to die today, why are you going to a treatment center? Why would the medical industry spend the kind of money like that if they didn't think this was something she couldn't recover from? Right? So she gets taken to a treatment center. Nobody has any proof or evidence of her at that treatment center. I'm not saying she didn't go. I'm just saying there's no proof of that. And you know what I should do is turn on... I haven't lit my candle or turned on my lights. That's how eager I was to sit down and get these cards going. All right, let me just plug in my little power pack that plugs in or powers the lights. You see, I've got a little power pack that powers my lights. And there we go. Sorry, everyone. Oh, dear. There. Okay, sorry about that. Little interlude for you. So day 4, there's no report of her death. She's been taken to a specialist treatment center. And we are going to use this massive deck that I have to shuffle in 4 lots. So we hear nothing about the treatment center, anything like that. I don't think it's like a drug rehab where they take your phone and all communication. I think if you go in, it's just a kind of a hospital that specializes in this case, renal failure. I'm assuming that's, a specialist treatment center. I'm assuming that's what that is. I will timestamp this if you already have all this information, so you can just jump ahead to the cards. So that's going on. And then we hear nothing. And then all of a sudden, we find out that she has allegedly unalived herself at her apartment. So that doesn't bring up any questions for you at all. I don't know. I don't know what to say, because she was going to die in 4 days. She was taken to a treatment center, and then suddenly she's ending herself in her apartment. So she was alive enough to go home. She was well enough to go home after complete renal failure and 4 days to live, to now being at home. Why would she then end things? Why would she take herself out of this existence by herself? Now, things are hard, of course, health problems, marriage problems, family situations. I get it. I get it. It can push people to the edge. But this woman took on Epstein. She took on politicians. She took on royalty. She fought. Why would she give up now? Why would she give up now? So I thought it would be kind of interesting to have a peek at the cards, see what comes out. We're going to use this deck, which is the True Crime deck, I believe it's called. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a True Crime deck. And I've got both decks, so it makes a huge stack. And then we're going to do some tarot as well. So these are like oracle cards. We're going to do some tarot too. And we're going to look at it from the detective's point of view, which I think that could be more interesting because, you know, the question is she alive or dead? If she is alive, where is she and why this unaliving story? If she did unalive herself, why? And if somebody else did that for her, why? What's going? Who was that? What was going on? What happened here? I saw. Now everything I've seen has been in writing. I've not seen any videos of her family talking about anything or making statements or anything like that. So I don't know what the tone is. I just know that her father has made a statement to a newspaper saying that she did not, this is not by her hand. But they didn't say she's still alive. So I don't know who's all in on it, what's going on. If you go to my posts in my community page, my community posts, I don't know what they call it when it's not your channel. But for me, it says posts. I posted a video there of all of my questions, all of my thoughts, all of my possibilities, just based on things that came to my mind as I was sitting down making notes. So is it a complete list? Maybe not, but it's pretty extensive. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that kind of point to like, really? Really? Anyway, she's got children. She was a daughter, a wife, a mother, a friend. You know, why this? What's going on here? So I'm going to take this stack of cards and we'll see what comes out. And I do have my tokens here. And what I think we'll do when we do the tarot, yeah, you just saw my my cozy top that I'm wearing today. There's the tokens. We'll use those, and we'll see what comes out. So I'll do a timestamp to this point here, so you can just jump to the cards if you already have all that information. And let's see. We'll pull a few cards from each bloodline. Directed energy weapon. They did say that the car that she was in when the school bus crashed, fender bender, allegedly. My opinions. I'm sure that I read that the car that she was in was being driven by her caregiver or carer. I'm not sure what the exact term was, but I remember at the time thinking, why does she need a caregiver? That could be an Australian term for like personal assistant. I don't know. But to me, it sounded like she has someone who helps her get through life. Like I know people in my town who, you know, somebody who's had a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury, and they function. You can still have a relationship with them, but they have somebody who goes out into the world with them just in case things go sideways, and their brain, it's not their fault. It's not that they're stupid. There's nothing wrong with them other than they've had a brain injury. So the little connections aren't always being made. So, think about when you're going somewhere and you're like, okay, I'm going to go here and do this and go here and do this and go here and do this. Something goes sideways and you can't accomplish something. That's where they need somebody to kind of step in and say, okay, we're going to solve this problem. We're going to work our way through the problem. So I get it. So that made me wonder, why does she have a caregiver? If that is truly what that term means in Australia, like that she had someone with her. And that's who was driving the car. And confession. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of... I want to know more about this, and I want to know more about this and this. Okay. All right. That's one deck, or 1/4 of the deck. So we'll keep a couple cards out, and then we'll come back with the tokens and see if we can find out any more about this. And then we'll do some tarot. And I have the Madhouse Tarot. I'm not going to use that deck. I'm going to use the Rider-Waite for serious business. And but we're going to use the Madhouse Tarot descriptions so that we can kind of tap into the psychology of things and see what's going on there. All right. There. Deck number 2. And we'll keep, I don't know where we'll keep these. We'll keep these just here. Okay. Oopsie. Oh, that one really wants to come out. That one really loyal, huh? Treason. I mean, I think we all know what this is about, right? Neighborhood. Well, she was back in her neighborhood. Organized crime. Okay, I want to know about this and this. There we go. Okay, and we'll look a little deeper at those with the tokens. We know what the organized crime is. It's Epstein. The list. Who's on the list? Was she going to talk? Was she filming a documentary? Was she writing a book? Was she doing a tell-all? Was she being being interviewed? Like what was going on? Because you can imagine, I mean, we're all very smart people here, that the moment the list was released, so-called released, we're still all waiting to see it, that people would be starting to look at her and say, what do you have to say about it all? So who is on the list? Was she taken into witness protection? Was she unalived? Did she unalive herself? We may never know. Family. Premeditated. Polar shift. Solved. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? Lies. We want premeditated for sure. I kind of feel like we need to look at that one too. That one's calling to me. Okay. And then our final one. And by all means, put this on double speed if you need to. This is a little bit of a slow process with the 4 decks, but we're on the 4th one, so we'll have a peek at what comes out. There we go. And yes, I did shuffle them all before I came on, but I know that y'all like to see them shuffled, so we know that we're not. Oh, you know what? What came in was not like a cemetery, like, but burying the facts. They died with her kind of thing. Boat. Yeah. Classified documents. Oh, and there's the info card for the deck. And gaslighting. I want to know, I'm going to hang on to these because I feel like, all right. The sense that I get is that obviously this was premeditated to get her out of the situation. Her family had to participate. You can't unalive yourself or fake your death or die by anybody's hand without your family participating. And I'm not saying that they were involved or had anything to do with it, but when we are related to each other and we have friends and family and loved ones, we are participating in each other's lives and stories and experiences and our energy and everything else. So when we, if she did unalive herself and the story that we're being given is true, then her family is participating by putting the story out. They're talking about it. Her family has at one time they said yes she did, but her father is saying no she didn't. So there's the two levels of participation there. If she didn't and she's gone into witness protection, then they would have to be involved in that too. Because imagine like you're told your child has unalived themselves, but you can't ever see them or have anything to do with it. Like, do you know what I mean? Most people would be like, I need a body. Like, you know, like people want to see the body, see the loved one who has died. That's closure. When I worked in the funeral industry, one of the big things, when I wrote, we had to write all these essays, and sort of my biggest one, like, I didn't do like a doctorate, but I would say like my thesis. The biggest one I wrote at the very end of my training and my education in that, not the end of my education, but the end of my education in that realm, in that form. I did carry on to learn a heck of a lot more after that. But at the end of that part of the education, I wrote an essay on the value of viewing and went deep into the psychological aspects, the emotional aspects, how grief is processed and things like that. So I know full well that people, when they're told someone died, but there's no body, it leaves a lot of empty space to be filled in. And a lot of people will make up stories. I actually knew somebody who told me that their cousin died, and she said, I went to the funeral, the casket was closed, and ever since then, I've just always wondered, like, is this real? So when you see the body, it really cements it in your brain. Seeing is believing. You cannot let your brain play tricks on you if you've seen the body. So that's why people are so adamant about getting bodies back from war and crimes and things like that. Because if the body didn't matter, then we wouldn't want we wouldn't want people back. There's people who spend a lot of money to get bodies back from overseas, and you don't have to. You can get insurance. The last time I saw it was about $500 for insurance. That would save you about $50,000, but people don't like to talk about it, so they don't do it. But we do know that the value of the body. So her family, if they had like somebody, the story's going to come out at some point that they're like, we never got to see her body. Another thing to look for is like, where is the funeral home? Like, where's the death notice on the funeral home website? People say, oh, privacy. Well, yeah, but they could put her name and say that she died and blah, 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 blah. And then put private family arrangements, as we often do when people don't want the hordes gawping at their loved one. So yeah, the family is taking part here. I'll get my little bowl. Oh, lots came out for that one. And then I feel like the boat thing, like, what is that about? What is that about? The boat, because you know where you take a boat to? Epstein Island. Epstein Island. All right, so boat 75. I've got the wrong sheet here. Record playing, replaying old memories, repeating cycles and old stories, rumination. Maybe somebody remembered. Oh yeah. And here's a question for you. Do you think she was still alive in that photo from the hospital? All black and blue? Or all black and brown? What does that have to do with her face all beaten up? What did that have to do with her kidneys? Do you see what I'm saying? There's too much stuff here. Too much stuff wide open here. 143, just I love you. And 82 is the medal, I believe. 82, Medal of Honor recognition. Well, she's certainly recognized now. That's a 100p. She is recognized now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do we think she went back? Safest place for her. She knows it. She knows what's what on the island. Yeah. Family. All right, let's have a look here. 78. Eagle, higher self, freedom. Well, she is free now. Either way, she's probably free of it all now. Either way. And then 130. And yes, I have them all printed out. Arrow through the heart, love at first sight, love hurts. Well, she did post about missing her children because I guess she's estranged from her husband, so she would be perhaps estranged from her children, or going through all of this was her children were kept away from the whole situation, which is probably wise. 87. Divine truth that obliterates unbelief, repair and rebuild. So maybe this is how she was going to fix her family, by getting them out of it, all of it. Because without her, alive, dead or alive, doesn't matter. Without her, the story is done. Her story has come to completion. And there's no, everybody else involved can just carry on with their lives. So, 87 here, the hammer, divine truth that obliterates unbelief. I'm wondering if there's people in her family who didn't believe her. And I know the world is split on this one. There's people who, there's no denying the facts are the facts. She was an employee on Epstein Island. She went there of her own free will. And perhaps things that happened afterwards, once she was there, were against her will, but she went there willingly. She knew what she was doing. So, yeah. But maybe people in her family, the world didn't believe her. Many people in the world didn't believe her. I don't know if I believe her. That's not up to me to decide. But I do know that she brought this to the international stage. Speaking of stages, theater masks, inauthentic dramatic behavior. What's coming in is that her family did not love this post that she made with the black and brown face. And not she wasn't in blackface. She was all bruised. People didn't like that. And so, yeah, okay, it's all coming. My guides are like on fire right now. So what they're saying is she did not post that. And then people in her family were upset that it was posted. So it created this big divide because it was a performance. It 100 million% was a performance. Ooh, yeah, this is a crazy story. Absolutely crazy story. Important events, get to the point, milestone. Yeah, deaths are a right, aren't they? I don't mean you have the right, but I mean, it's a rite of passage. And 109 is the whale. Compassion and solitude. I think that's all she wanted, was just to be left alone. And she maybe thought this was the only way to get there. Okay, and premeditated. 111, eternal, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Yeah, she was the first and she was the last, wasn't she? Nobody else really did what she did. So I do think that everything that's gone on right now has been planned, one way or the other. Whether it was her who unalived herself, whether somebody unalived her, whether she made the choice to go into witness protection herself, or whether that was offered to her. It was all pre-planned, all of this. Absolutely. Speak your truth. She was speaking her truth and it got her to this point. So yeah, that's kind of wild. All right. And we'll try, oopsie, got my pendulum here. Yeah. This one's not grabbing me anymore. And neither is this one. But these two, gaslighting. I think the whole thing is a gaslight. And burial. Let's see here. Let's see what we've got here. Sometimes when I immediately jump on something and then I'm like, no, we already know enough. We already know enough. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that one landed there. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see what we've got here. The apple is health, forbidden fruit, knowledge. Health, forbidden fruit, knowledge. Yeah, they're buried. That's why I said when this card first came out, not a funeral, like a burial in a cemetery, but burying the truth. The truth died with her. Okay, it went away with her. There is a part of me that thinks we'll see her again. There is a part like, we may see her again. I don't know if this is the end. Just yes. Yes means yes. 53 is our key. Important element to resolve a problem. Yeah. She had to die to solve a problem. Also, too, didn't she get a huge, like, $15 million settlement from Prince Andrew, allegedly? Where's that money? Where is that? What happened to that money? I need to know. 41 is the octopus, flexibility, creativity, and multitasking. Yeah. Faking your own death, selling it to the public, going into witness protection, selling it to the, whatever it is. There's a lot going on. A lot of moving parts at the moment in this story. A lot of them. All right. Organized crime. So we have 78. Oh, there's the eagle again. Interesting. So 78 is the eagle. Higher self, freedom. Yeah, like she's out of it now. She's free. She doesn't have to be part of this story anymore. And 109 is the whale. Where are we here? On the wrong page. Compassion and solitude. Yeah, she'll be all alone now. Because I don't think, a lot of people would have to have disappeared with her for this to not look like an unaliving. So, yeah. Person holding the world, heavy responsibility, like the world on your shoulders, the weight of the world on your shoulders. Absolutely. She did have the weight of the world on her shoulders because whether what she said was true or not, she was standing up for all women who have found themselves in situations like that. So whether or not it was true, it's like books. It's like, you read the Celestine prophecy. Did that or did that not happen? I don't know, but it's a good story that has opened a lot of hearts and minds. So, it could be fake. I don't know. I have no idea. It worked for me. The Winding Road. Story of life, intertwined fate and destiny. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we believe in soul contracts and we believe in predestination and all of it's pre-planned, then of course this was her destiny to be entangled with this organized crime, this Epstein situation, which is so much bigger than Epstein. It is massive, which is why I think it's taking so long to get the list, the names out, because I just feel like people can't handle it. It'll just be too much. It will break a lot of people's brains. And that's why, everything that's gone on, let's just say in the last 5 years, all this nonsense, if you put the truth out there, and there's many people who are, but if, say, the truth came from the top, people couldn't handle it. Look at what's gone on in Australia. Look at what's gone on in Canada just in the last week. The governments that we elected are the governments who've been lying to us all this time. These are not good people. And rather than accept the truth, because we've been trying to tell people the truth for a long time. People tried to tell people the truth about Mark Carney. Believe me, we didn't hide it. And yet people didn't care. They didn't want to hear it. So that's our destiny. That's what we have to contend with. That's what we have to deal with. The organized crime is at all of the top levels. We call it the World Economic Forum. We call it the World Health Organization. We call it the UN. Like all of these things. Allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Those are your crime groups. Those are your organized crime organizations. So I'm sure I'll be blacklisted for saying that, whatever. Listen, if you're sitting there nodding your head, my friend, you were at the right rally. If you're like, what is she talking about? You probably voted liberal. So yeah. There's so much more to the story here. All right, let's look at these ones here. 64, the acorn. Perseverance towards a mighty goal, growing into stability. Yeah. She just, I think once this was all done, she just wanted to be left alone. I feel like she, but I don't think she unalived herself. I don't think this was her. I really don't. I just, you know what, maybe that'll come out and I'm completely wrong. And I am so off track here. It's not funny, but I don't think I am. And there's a lot of people who I think are on the right track with this. So yeah. The beach, 129, vacation, warm weather, sea and sand. See, this is what makes me think that she's on the island. That a deal has been struck to keep her safe on the island, that they're like, you can stay alive, your family will stay alive, your children will stay alive. You come to this island and you are never, ever heard from again. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion, my opinion only. You know, sometimes feelings can be facts, but this is just my opinion. And 82, the Medal of Honor recognition. Yeah, yep. She's getting a lot of recognition right now. Everybody knows her face at the moment. So there. All right. There's a look at that. Now let's have a little peek from a detective's point of view. And if you're still with me, thank you so much. If you tell me that you put it on double speed, I'm good with that. I encourage it. I do that too. There's a guy that I follow, and he's very smart, and he does really great videos on politics, and he talks so slow that I actually have to put him on double speed, and then he sounds normal to me. So, but every word he says is wonderful and intelligent and insightful, so that's why I keep following him and watching him and listening to him. All right, card number 1, the case overview, which provides the main theme or the primary energy surrounding the case. Completion of something. Something's come to completion. This is a physical thing, but it's come to completion. So this is the main energy. So this could be a variety of things, that she has completed her life. Somebody else has completed her life. She's chosen to appear to have completed her life. There's all kinds of things. But also, too, the energy is she was sick of it all. She was done. She was just done with all of it and wanted it to go away, wanted to end the whole situation. And so she did that one way or another. This is about her. This is her here. Queen of Swords. So this is the card that I always say, if this is your personality or someone else's personality, if we're looking for who it is in your life that's the Queen of Swords, this is the cut a bitch girl. This is the person who will not hold back, who will say what they think. They don't hold back on their thoughts. They will tell you exactly what they think. The person who is brutally honest with you is the person who loves you the most. They always say your meanest friend is the friend who loves you the most. You know, and I get it, right? Because the people who don't care about you and don't actually deeply care about your life and your success and everything that's going on with you, they will just be like, oh yeah, you're so great, you're so wonderful. Da, da, da. She's not like that. And she, you know, she could have protected a lot of people and made a lot of money protecting a lot of people, but she didn't. She came forward. And she got a bitch. That's for sure. She did. She did. All right. Um, so that's, we're looking at her personality. So now we're going to look at some details about her life and the situation. There were some changes, emotional changes going on. But also, yeah, I think a sadness. Really what I'm getting, what my guides are, the word they're saying is exhaustion. That this exhaustion leading to this sadness. I'm not going to say depression because then that takes us back down the unaliving story, but I think this, I think she had just reached a point of exhaustion and had to make a choice about what she was going to do next. Because if you were exhausted already and the list still hasn't come out, imagine what your life is going to look like when the list comes out. And I think she just kind of wanted to live a normal, regular suburban life. And that was really, you know, that was going to be impossible for her for the rest of her life. So, yeah, interesting. So let's have another look at her. The Magician is, whenever I see if I'm working with a client and the Magician comes out, that usually is one of two things. It's that they have everything they need to solve the problem, or they simply need to go to an expert who knows how to solve the problem. So, you know, not that long ago, I had a guy on my Zoom, and we were doing a reading, and we pulled out the Magician, and I was like, you know, you just need to get an accountant to deal with your tax issues. Like, that's it. Like, it was that simple. What do you need to do? You need to hire an accountant, the expert in the field, the person who, you know, when you don't have the skill set, you go to the expert. So for this, just to tap into that a little bit, if we're talking about Virginia, then she probably went to her handlers at the police, the FBI, whatever it is, MI6, whoever deals with all of that stuff. And she called in the experts and said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Get me out of this, right? And they would. They would, if she's tucked away somewhere silent, then a lot of problems go away. The Magician, the shadow side of the Magician is the trickster. You can't always believe what you see. So that's interesting that has come out, the trickster. Interesting. So the crime scene, let's look at the energy of the crime scene. The Four of Cups in the Rider-Waite always cracks me up, because to me, I always think, oh my gosh, I'm so stoned. My popcorn is bringing me a glass of wine. Yeah. The energy around the crime scene, if there was a crime, or around the case, let's just say, I don't know. Well, yeah, this is the crime scene. Let's look at the crime scene. There's emotions, but the sense of the emotions that I'm getting is just of being just done. Just taking us back to just being done. Just emotionally drained, emotionally spent. There's nothing left to give. No fight left to bring to this conversation and this topic. So, yeah, that's interesting. All right, the perpetrator. Let's have a look and see if we can get any hints or clues. Well, I'm just going to say it. It's her. She's made all this happen. Like, she's instigated it. The star would be like the star of the show. She's the star of her own show. This is her main character energy, which she's always had. But it's her. She's the star of her own show. And the star, whenever we're looking at this is long-term effects and changes. So, of course, when you post that you've unalived yourself, that's pretty permanent. Unless you've got some splaining to do. So, yeah. And then Let's look at the perpetrator again. She felt completely stuck. Yeah. Mm. She just didn't have any, she didn't feel like she had any choices. So she tried to envision her life in a whole different way. And then she called in the experts. Oh. Hmm. And regardless of whether we believe her or not, you know, we don't want anything bad to happen to her. You know, this isn't a life. And she felt stuck. Yeah, poor thing. And then the perpetrator again, the King of Wands. I think this is So the King of Wands for me is, when I'm doing general readings like this, just sort of looking at big energies, is Donald Trump. So now I'm wondering if he was involved, because he's, you know, he's like, yep, we're going to release the Epstein files, all the names. It was him who set off this chain of events. And I'm wondering if she was able to get in touch with him, have some kind of contact with him, maybe through her handlers, to get help, to say, yeah, I need, you, my friend, are putting my life in danger. I need your help to get out of this situation and be safe and be protected. That's what is coming through here. And just know, as we sit here running our mouths, no one's ever going to know the truth. Like, no one ever will. We can all sit here and, you know, read energy and read cards and ask questions and everything else. If she had just gone missing, you know, like, oh, her plane crashed in the jungle. Well, then there's all kinds of possibilities left over. But this, what has been put into the news, is a pretty permanent thing. And let's look at the motive. I'm going to move these cards over here to start doing things in a new way, a new life, a new, let's look at the energy of that, or the dates of that card. The Wands, the Ace of Wands, no dates attached. All right. Okay. So let's look at the Madhouse, definitions. So our 10 of Pentacles, crimes affecting family, inheritance, or legacy, generational criminal activity. Oh my gosh. See, didn't I ask, where's the money? Where is the money? Our Queen of Swords, a sharp-minded and strategic criminal, someone who plans meticulously. I don't know much about Virginia to know if she was that kind of person. If she's a Virgo, she probably is. Was. All right. Our 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups, regret or remorse after committing a crime, a sense of loss. Yes, she would be feeling a sense of loss either way. Her soul might be like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Or she herself might be like, this is going to be really hard because I don't have any contact with my life anymore. So there we go. The Magician, a con artist or mastermind who manipulates situations to their advantage, like a skilled hacker. Well, that fits. You know, a lot of people who don't believe her story have a lot of things to say about her. And, you know, like I said, I don't know if I believe her story or not. That doesn't really matter. You know, that's of no consequence whether I believe the story or not. But certainly it took a mastermind to come up with this plan. It wasn't a good plan and it wasn't well executed, but certainly she was, there was some conniving elements to it. The 4 of Cups, discontent leading to a crime, boredom or dissatisfaction driving criminal behavior. Yeah, she was bored with the whole thing. She was done. She's run out of steam for it because the story was going to ramp up again. So, and she would be like hounded. Can you imagine, like, you just want to be left alone and you think, okay, this whole big thing is done, and then you can't even leave your house without the media all over her. And that's exactly what would happen. The Star. Crimes involving fame or aspiration, like a celebrity scandal or cyber stalking a public figure. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? The Hanged Man. A crime committed in a state of surrender or desperation, like a coerced crime or a sacrifice. Yeah, there we go. And I misspoke when I said we're going to use madhouse meanings. What I meant was we're going to use true crime meanings. I just misspoke there. Sorry about that. But I'll put the links to all the decks I can. King of Wands, Donald Trump. Daddy T, a powerful and authoritative criminal figure, a kingpin or a crime boss. Do you think that Virginia still had contact with Prince Andrew secretly behind the scenes? Do you think? It just popped in my head. And finally, the Ace of Wands. Where is our little sheet here? Initiating a new crime spree or sudden burst of criminal activity. So yeah, aces are always new thing, new life, new path, new journey, new adventure. So yeah, there we have it. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about all of this? Is this a fake thing? Is this real? Like, what do you think happened? I just asked if it's fake and my pendulum started saying no. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think actually happened here. Let me know how this landed. Don't forget to click subscribe, leave a like. It really helps me grow the channel. I've got some goals and dreams here, and the only thing I need right now is your help, and it's free. You just click on subscribe, click on like, leave a comment, and let me know. Get the conversation going. I do reply to every comment. That is super, super important to me. So if I don't reply to your comment, just give me a nudge, because it just might mean that YouTube hasn't shown it to me. Because I could see that there was a comment and nothing I did was getting that comment to appear. So I don't know who it was or what they said. So if that was you, I'm sorry. It wouldn't show me your comment, even though I could see there was a comment. That it was just saying, oh, you've got a comment. And I'm like, okay, well, show it to me. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And as ever, have a magical day.